Good morning, YouTube. I'm going to do a quick walk around of my 2020 RoadKing Special and a few of the modifications I've done to it. I traded in a 2018 Breakout for this RoadKing probably a little over a year ago. I had a Street Glide before that, and I did a lot of work to the Street Glide, and it's an expensive venture to get into all the modifications and body work on a touring bike. So when I walked in, I had no intentions of trading in until I seen this RoadKing Special, my first time seeing one in person. And I seen that it was already blacked out. The bags were already stretched. The rear fender was already stretched to mate up with the bags. It's a problem when you want stretch bags and fender on a bike that doesn't come with them. You'll be a few $1,000s out for the body work and the paint to get everything to look the way that it's supposed to. And I thought this bike was great because it was all blacked out. I thought the factory wheels looked great. That's usually one of the first things I change out. But I was going to go with some Ride Right Fat 50s. But it's hard to justify $4,000 into some wheels and tires when these look pretty great already. I can't imagine that those would alter the look of the bike that much. So starting from the front, have factory wheels and everything still on it. In my opinion, they look great. I'll put some little fork nut covers over the front. One of the biggest modifications I've done to the bike is this Daymaker headlight. This LED headlight is expensive. It's about 600 bucks. But it's such a tremendous improvement over the factory, just in lighting and in looks. When you have this RoadKing Special and it's all blacked out, that factory headlight it looks terrible on there. It's very bright and it doesn't look like it belongs. But as soon as you install this, it gives you a whole different look to the bike. In that first week, I also put these Harley Davidson fused 14-inch 8s on here. These bars are great in comparison to other apes that I've owned. And they're fairly easy to run wires in comparison to some other angled apes that I've used in the past. Put the stage 1 on it. Also immediately I went with the Screaming Eagle air filter and the Vance and Hines X pipe with the duals out the back. And I went with the Power Commander option. I have a Power Commander 5, and I always do custom maps. So I did a custom map on the bike to make sure I maximize fuel air ratio. I went with this Lepera bare bone seat. I love these seats. It's a great improvement over the factory as far as looks. It sets you a little lower to the ground. And I also put some Burley slammers on it. It definitely, with the seat and the slammers on the back, it lowers the ass end on it so it looks great. It has an amazing look to it. I love the look of a sissy bar on a bike, even touring bikes, but it has to be the right bar. And I looked around for a little while and came across this Suicide Chopper sissy bar. It's spelled S-I-O X, I believe. Suicide, kind of like the Native American tribe, Sioux. And I think this is the best looking sissy bar that you could put on these bikes. It is outstanding. With the apes, it just completes the look for what I was looking for. This bike has amazing balance for the weight. It feels amazing. It's got the 114 in it. It's the strongest Harley I've owned. Biggest motor in a Harley I've owned. So it makes sense. But I've owned several sport bikes when I first started off some years ago. That culminated with a ZX14 before I went with a Harley, which is what most people would do once your balls drop, is transition to a Harley. And since that time, I started off with a Wad Glide, which is probably one of my favorite Harleys. I love the old Dynas. It's a shame they stopped making them. And I went from the Wad Glide. I also had a Softail Slim for a little while. This started off as my wife's bike, but I just kind of took it over when she didn't ride it as much. Then got a Street Glide, and then from the Street Glide got the Breakout, and from the Breakout this RoadKing. And I will say that through all those bikes, I do love a naked bike more. I didn't feel the Street Glide was me at all. But I was spoiled by the bags and all the room I had on the Street Glide. And so I feel that of all the bikes that I've owned, this RoadKing is the perfect balance of naked bike with touring capabilities. It just feels like a more me bike. And Harley makes a lot of different types of bikes, so that there's pretty much a bike that you can tailor to yourself. And this is the bike that I think is made for me. It has bags, comfortable rod, a lot of room to move around. With a few modifications, you can make it your own. I definitely love this RoadKing more as a total package than probably any other bike at this point in my life anyway. Harley Davidson RoadKing, I recommend.